Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessing salutations, as always, to the hopefully elect, listening and learning. So we're in the midst of a economic war, economic collapse. Boots are about to be put on the ground real soon over there in Western Asia. All out chaos is coming. We go into these things on a daily basis. All right, but another thing you have happening as well that's going to add to the chaos is no work. All right, because what you have now, which has been going on for quite some time, is that the job market in America has been drying up. Okay, you have all these businesses filing for bankruptcy, going out of business, especially the mom and pop shops. Those things are pretty much now non-existent, or if they are around, then they holding on for dear life. Okay, because everything is, just shooting through the roof in terms of price, operations and wages and taxes and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? And the oil situation, all right, we'll tap into it briefly, but over there, I think it was in Qatar or several different countries across Western Asia. They've been bombing oil refinery plants, okay, and even today, crude oil is shot above 119 a barrel. Okay, it's come down now, but just to show you, how fragile the things are in this war right now due to all these conflicts going on. All right. But what's going to, send people over the edge over here in America, Babylon the Great, all right, is the fact that people not going to have no work real soon, and if you do have a job right now, hey, consider yourself blessed, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people ain't working, man. Okay, a lot of people do not have a job, can't find one, and it's going to stay like that, you know what I'm saying, until they pull the plug from their system, you know what I'm saying? So for you Akim and Akwath, you know what I'm saying, out there, hey, do what you got to do for the time being, even if you hate your job, you know what I'm saying, you hate being there, which really, hey, we all do, okay? Like, if you actually got a job that you enjoy doing, then that's even more of a blessing, man. But, the thing is, the Lord about to take all this stuff away, you know what I'm saying? The Lord about to dry everything up in this place, all right? So, we're going to play this video right here, all right? Pretty much him going into the fact that there was zero job creation in the month of February, okay? And that in the private sector, there are no jobs being created, man. So, this fulfills biblical prophecy of there being no more work for Egypt. We'll get into that, but
well, it's official. The United States had zero job growth in the private sector. Yes, that's correct. A zero job growth in the private sector. The labor force in the United States is effectively stalled 100%. Zero jobs in the private sector. We have never seen this in history.
So this is the first time that this has ever happened, all right, in American history, man, to where you've had no job growth. Nobody's hiring, okay? And it seems like, nobody's hiring, but a lot of people are getting laid off, right? All these companies laying off, a figure came out earlier this month that over 60% or more of corporations are going to be laying off in the year of 2026. All right. So Esau, the Lord put a spirit on this man to accelerate the agenda. You see what I'm saying? Because they've been wanted this, Elon told you, Klaus Schwab told you that very soon, they told you years ago that people not going to have no jobs. You know what I'm saying? And really what it is, if you in the spirit, you can see that they setting up the conditions to bring about the MOTB, okay? The war over there in Western Asia with Iran and the small hats in America, this is causing global instability in global markets, man, okay, which is going to directly affect what happens here in Babylon the Great, all right? You already have diesel gas now over $5 a gallon on average. You know what I'm saying? Some places more expensive than that. And the longer that this war continues, the higher the price of oil and natural gas will become. All right, so just imagine, come summertime in the warmer months where people need natural gas to cool their homes. You know what I'm saying, and your ass gonna come out all right for a month with an energy bill of damn near $1,000, man. Okay, this is very possible. And of course, when you get to that point, people really gonna be hurting. I mean, people are hurting right now, but the worst is yet to come. Right? That's why we tell you, Jakes, to repent, man, because this society is about to go belly up. You know what I'm saying?
Economists are now saying that our economy is not strong enough to support the war in Iran, and that our enemies are circumventing us while our economy is starting to go into the crapper. So what exactly does zero job growth in the private sector mean? That means for entities outside of the government, there were zero jobs created. Zero. None. Fuck you. That means that so many jobs are being lost or done away with, and so few jobs are hiring people that we're effectively zeroed out. There is zero growth, none whatsoever in the labor force. That is the news. And that should freak all of you the fuck out, because it's never happened like that. Effectively, what that means is, bitch, you ain't finding a job. So, can someone in the comments let me know what the fuck we're gonna do here? Because this is historic. Sup, America?
Esau crazy, but there's no work. All right, the work in Babylon is drying up, man. Okay, and really, if it wasn't for the government, you know what I'm saying, which the government is partially shut down right now, and I found out the other day that the government, they still not paying TSA workers. All right, so you have a lot of TSA now, they just walking off the job. You know what I'm saying? They just quitting because what I'm saying, since the last shutdown, they probably got paid for like January, I think, but since the government has been shut down since February, come March, they still haven't gotten a paycheck yet. Okay. And TSA don't make a whole lot of money anyway, so they can't afford to be missing paychecks, man. All right. So, this is affecting everything. Okay. TSA, they're, very important for the functionality of the airports and things like that. You ain't got no TSA, then, the airport's going to have to shut down, which that's what Esau wants anyway, because he don't want nobody to leave Babylon the Great. Okay. Because a lot of people are leaving, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's not front page news, but that's what's going on. A lot of people are getting out of America. They're going overseas. They seeking refuge somewhere else because they see the writing on the wall. They see that America is done. Okay? But Esau wants your ass to be stuck here. So, he creates these kind of conditions. All right, now, get this article real quick. Bring this up, right? This is from Yahoo Finance, all right? So Jerome Powell, okay? Job creation is near zero. Fed sees unemployment holding at 4.4 amid low labor force growth, driven by immigration declines and lower participation fees. Job creation in the U.S. has slowed to essentially zero. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said Wednesday as the Fed released its latest economic projections, which included slightly higher economic growth than previously projected and little change to the unemployment rate. Says here, effectively, there's zero net job creation in the private sector after accounting for revisions over the past 6 months. But actually, that looks like that's about what the economy needs in terms of dealing with very, very low, non-existent, really, growth in the labor force, which, of course, we've never had in our history. See that? Indeed, the country may not need as many jobs as it once did amid lower labor force participation rates and immigration declines, and that's because they're bringing in the AI. You know what I'm saying? And even you might notice that at your job now they're starting to implement a lot of AI. Okay, now they're, really what they're doing now is they're feeding the AI with human intelligence. Okay, so that's why if you have a job right now and your employer is trying to implement the AI, that's really so you can train the AI. But in a very short amount of time, once the AI gets up to speed and I'm saying it can pretty much do the work of a human being and think like a human being, then they're not gonna need you no more. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna get laid off, and that's why you've been seeing, since Trump came in, that there's been mass layoffs in the tech sector in particular. But very soon it's gonna be everything. Okay, it's gonna be no work, no jobs out here for anybody to do, and that's why these devils are gonna bring universal basic income or universal high income. You know what I'm saying? As Elon Musk say. All right. Yeah. So yeah, America's through. You know what I'm saying? The price of food is going up. How the hell people gonna afford food when they ain't got no job? You know? And then they going digital. So again, you see that, you know, these devils, they're creating the conditions, all right, to bring in the MOTB because now people are very desperate, man. Okay, and when people ain't got no work, that's a very idle mind, man. Okay, so people start crashing out. Meta reportedly firing a vast percentage of its staff in Zuckerberg's move to AI. Okay, and this is a huge tech firm, Meta, formerly Facebook. I want to get the point out of this. All right, it says here Zuckerberg has made it clear he's looking for labor efficiency in the age of AI. See? So the AI is more efficient than a human being, and then they save costs as well. AI don't need vacation. AI don't call out sick. AI doesn't strike. Okay, so Esau, he's moving into this digital technocracy with alarming speed, arguing that we're starting to see projects that used to require big teams now be accomplished by a single, very talented person. All right, so now he's referring to the AI as a single, very talented person. All right, so you're dealing with the devil, man. Okay, the company didn't outright deny Reuters reporting, but cast doubt on the purported plans, which would affect upward of 15,000 workers. You see that? And that's a whole lot of people to be laying off at one time. 15,000 people? That's crazy. All right, but hey, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, very soon, because you may know a few people now that ain't got no work, but very soon it's going to be everybody. All right, you. All right, we understand at some point we not going to have a job. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good because ultimately, a job don't feed us. You know what I'm saying? A job do not provide for us, man. Ultimately it's all from Yahweh Bashmi Shai. You know? So the Lord got us doing what we're doing right now, to maintain and sustain. But the time is going to come where we're going to have to walk away from these things anyway, because in order to receive certain benefits, you're going to have to take the chip. You're going to have to take the MOTB. And, for the true believers, that's not an option. Okay, so we're going to have to step out and walk on faith and trust that, the Lord will, be with us in that time. All right, while the world, they're going to run toward the MOTB. Says here, if confirmed, it could be one of the company's biggest rounds of layoffs in history. In 2022, it laid off 11,000 employees. In early 23, Zuckerberg announced a year of efficiency, cutting 10,000 more jobs. This is a lot of people, man. Okay, at the same time, you got meat processing plants shutting down. You got dock workers getting laid off. Okay, you got truckers getting laid off, whole trucker firms going out of business, man. So that should tell you right there that this economy is about to collapse very soon, that they about to do away with this dollar and bring in a stable coin. All right, which, these are things that we go into on a regular basis, man, pretty much every lesson. Now,
there will be fewer and fewer jobs.
These devils, they've been talking about it. Okay, and you see that the plan is panning out exactly how they envision it. So this is Elon. So this is Elon right here saying that this came out some years ago, but it's basically Elon letting you know, okay, that the day will come to where there won't be many things that a robot or AI can't do. So the need for humans is gonna decrease.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
Okay.
What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge.
What to do about mass unemployment? Are we not seeing mass unemployment now? Of course. So why, why is this happening? This is happening because the technocrats, okay, which this guy here is one of them, one of the top technocrats, all right, they have this grandiose vision of creating a completely digital world to where they'll be able to know everything. They'll be able to track you, monitor you at all times. You know what I'm saying? And basically what they're doing is they're turning Babylon the Great America into a giant surveillance state. Okay, I saw an article earlier that said that the FBI is now buying tracking locations on every American. Why? Why are these things being done? Because ultimately we're coming into the NWO, where you will have no privacy, where you will have no rights, and on paper, these devils, they want to become God. They want to become the Most High. They want to be omnipresent, omnipotent, and have all the power. You see? So that's what all of this is all about. Okay. They may try to come out and make it seem like, oh, this is in the name of efficiency and this is in the name of going green. All right. They got that net zero agenda, which is nothing more than, another term to say that they want to make human beings obsolete. Okay, that we want to save the earth from greenhouse gases. All this pseudoscience that these devils been pushing over the years, man. This is the answer to it all. But this is even a more bigger tyranny and oppression than what they got going on right now. All right, because when they give you this new money, if you owe anything, then these devils gonna be able to take it right out. They're not gonna send you a letter. They're not gonna send you a eviction notice or nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just gonna take it out. Okay, so you're not gonna have a choice. You know what I'm saying? This is the world that these devils want. But call Lord Yahweh Shemel Shada. We at the end of this thing, and the Lord about to cut these devils off. All right.
And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now, the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap. I think I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
And that's why the scriptures say, to use the world is not abusing it. Okay. because understanding that this world about to pass away, you're not to be attached to these things. You know, this, what you got going on right now, the Lord allow you to do that, all right, as a means to an end. 1 Corinthians 7:31, and they that use this world is not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. All right. So we know that this world is on the way out. So you're not supposed to have a mindset of, oh, that I'm scared to lose my job, or I don't know what I'm gonna do without my job. Like, don't even worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Don't the scriptures say that, fret not for tomorrow will take care of itself. Okay. The Lord said that he feed the birds, and the birds don't sow, they don't reap, but the Lord feed and take care of them. They don't worry about how how they gonna eat. So how much more, you know, the true believers in Yahweh Shai, man, you should have that faith to know that, all right, if I lose my job tomorrow and I'm serving the Lord, then hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The Lord wanted me to lose my job because the Lord got something better coming. All right. And one thing that brothers can say, I mean, hey, brothers catching hell right now too. We feel the economic squeeze. Hey, but you know what? Brothers still eat. Brothers still got a roof over their head. Brothers, can still do what we do. Why? Because ultimately the Lord is sustaining us, man, not anything of this world. Okay, so that needs to be understood. But yeah, these people have no idea. All right, what's getting ready to happen in Babylon the Great? All right, oil jumps above 119 a barrel after Iran attacked energy facilities across the Middle East. All right, you can tap into this real quick. All right, so oil today hit 119 a barrel. It's come down some, but look, they already talking about how that if the strait continues to be held up, you could see prices for a barrel of oil jump above $200, and at that point, here in America, Babylon the Great, you're gonna be seeing some very high gas prices. Okay, and when gas gets to like $8-10 a gallon, and diesel gonna hit 15, 16, $20 a gallon, man, everything gonna stop. All right, because the cost to keep business running at that point is gonna be super duper expensive. Okay, if gas gets to $8-10 a gallon, all right, you're gonna see Babylon literally come to a halt, man, because ain't nobody gonna be trying to go nowhere. People gonna stop traveling. Flights are gonna be way more expensive than what they are now. So everything is gonna stop. Okay, only the ultra wealthy are really gonna have access to living leisure, but the average Babylonian is gonna be sick. Okay, once these things take off. So yeah, this is what's going on, man, and really, this Iran conflict is really turned into an economic war, because now they hitting oil refining plants, and they hitting desalination plants. And so what's getting ready to occur is hyperinflation, and economic collapse and famine. Okay, that's what's going to happen, and also disease. Okay, because now you got the WHO coming out talking about something's going on with diseases and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot coming down the pipe, and this is only week 3 of this war. Okay, so the worst is yet to come. Now, You can get some scriptures. All right, when you get Isaiah 19, going to get straight to the point. All right, Isaiah 19 and verse 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Okay, in Isaiah, he's speaking about, not ancient Egypt, all right, on the physical landmass of, Africa, okay? But he's talking about this spiritual Egypt, okay, Babylon, the great America that we in up right now, man, all right? Prophesied that there shall be no more work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. So this is, these jobs being lost, people struggling financially, being stressed out. This is judgment from Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. Okay, let's get that in the NLT real quick. See how it is worded. Isaiah 19 and 14, the Lord has sent a spirit of foolishness on them. So all their suggestions are wrong. They cause Egypt to stagger like a drunk in his vomit. There is nothing Egypt can do. All are helpless, the head and the tail, the noble palm branch and the lowly reed. In that day the Egyptians will be as weak as women. They will cower in fear beneath the upraised fist of the Lord of heaven's armies. Okay, so this is the judgment of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai coming upon the land. All right, and when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50, it tells you that many great miseries will befall them that dwell in the latter time because they have walked in great pride. Okay, so as we always bring it out, people's pride is being humbled, and that's why people losing their jobs, man. Okay, people are losing health care, all right? They're really losing everything. And very soon, they're going to lose their 401k, their retirement. They're going to lose their savings. People about to lose their bank accounts, man. All right, because Esau, he about to, perform a huge cyber attack. All right, he's going to be performing FF attacks on American soil, man. So, yeah, that's why we tell you, Jakes, to repent and get right. Because, when Esau pulled the plug on the internet and this word stopped going out and you don't see brothers, all right, on the streets no more, then that's how you know that the doors of mercy, all right, have been closed, all right? Ain't gonna be nobody coming in at that point, man. So you better get yourself right now. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Ecclesiastes 12 and 1. All right, let's go back. And it reads, remember Yahweh in your youth. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right, so you're supposed to remember Yahweh Bashmiel Shai now, in the days of your youth, while you have strength, and, you can actually be of benefit to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Verse 12, Slakia, verse 2. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house, okay, when you go into that, it goes into the economists, those that watch the economy, the stockbrokers and things like that. Okay, that's what it means when it's talking about the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few. And the grinders are the workers, man, the labor force. And as we just went into, there was zero job creation in the private sector, okay, for the month of February. Okay, and we're only in March, man. So I'm interested to see what the numbers are going to be for March, once this month is over. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be even worse, okay, that it's going to be negative job creation, man. All right, that's what time we in. But as it says in Ecclesiastes 12 and 3, the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Yeah, people looking out, and it ain't looking good. Okay, society is breaking down, man. People's mental health is at an all-time low. The future does not look bright. And pursuing to what I said before, that's why people are leaving. That's why people are leaving Babylon the Great, because they see there's no future. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. All right. So this place, America, is under judgment, man. Okay, really the whole earth is, but especially here in Babylon the Great, because this is the golden cup that was in the Lord's hand. Okay, we reference Jeremiah chapter 51. Babylon judged for sins against Israel, Yasha'Allah. Okay, Jeremiah 51:6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. Okay, which is now, man. This is the time where the Lord is addressing the wickedness of these Babylonians. All right. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Okay, the glory of all kingdoms, the pinnacle of all of the beast systems, man. This is it right here. And it's also the most wicked. All right, but the Lord about to destroy this golden cup, right? As it says, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad, and that wine goes into the perverse philosophies. Okay, the blasphemy that America pushed on all these nations. So much so now to where you got all the other nations, they're modeling themselves after Babylon. Okay, you go to Africa. They got skyscrapers. You know what I'm saying? You go to the Far East, China, Japan, South Korea. Okay, India, same very thing, man. Like they're trying to pattern themselves after the ways of America, because America is the most influential nation upon the planet Earth. Okay, that's what it goes into when it goes into the wine. Okay, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the sky. So like I said, the scripture right here, all right, the prophet Jeremiah prophesied that people would begin to flee Babylon, which is what we're seeing right now. People are leaving by the hundreds, by the thousands, okay, because they know this place is under judgment. As it said, her judgment reacheth unto heaven, okay? And that's being made known now about all the dirty stuff that's been coming out about the EP files, which they swept that under the rug. Okay. They've completely stopped talking about that. Okay, now it's all about this Iran war. But guess what? Children are still being kidnapped. Children are still being, sexually abused and sacrificed unto Baal and Molech. Okay, that is not stopped. All right. The only way that's going to stop is when Yahweh shall return and put these heathen down. You know what I'm saying? But for now, they throw you all these other distractions. Okay. And on top of that, nobody has gone to jail. Okay. So if you want America to continue, if you're in the spirit of wanting this place to be forwarded, then your ass ain't right. And the Lord going to destroy you. Okay. Because by you saying that, you know what I'm saying, you really don't believe that the Lord has a problem with what has been going on in this place, man. This place is completely wicked. This place must be destroyed. Okay. So prepare for job loss, all right, economic collapse, a military draft coming. You see, higher food prices, higher cost of living, and just more hell. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out right there, Lord willing. This lesson's been edifying through the Rakah Kedash called Lord Yahweh Bashmi Oshai Bashmi Rakah Kedash.